Christmas season, I saw a sign on a church that said that Christ's birth was not his beginning, but rather his becoming. And that brings an important truth to us. Christ is an eternal being. There has never been a time he didn't exist. There never will be a time he doesn't exist. Before Jesus came into the world, he was known by the title of the Word. As it tells us in the prologue to the Gospel of John, verses 1 through 3, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same in the beginning was with God, and all things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. Later in John chapter 17, Jesus is praying to his Father before he goes to the cross. He says, I have glorified thee on earth. I have finished the work that you gave me to do. And now, O Father, glorify me with thine own self, with the glory which I had with thee before the beginning of the world. So Jesus had a very special relationship with the Father and always will have that. He invites us to be a part of that as well. That's a powerful truth. Jesus' coming to earth was not an afterthought, far from it. As soon as man fell in the Garden of Eden, which is a story I'm sure most of you are familiar with, we see a prophecy right away of the coming Messiah, one who would be of the seed of the woman in Genesis 3:15. Now, it's interesting the way that's worded, because bloodlines back then were generally listed from the father's side, but here it specifically talks about the Messiah being the seed of the woman. So we start to see very early on references to his virgin birth. We'll be talking about more in our next study. From here throughout the Old Testament, we see an amazing sequence of prophecies about the one who is to come and rescue us from all this mess. In fact, the Old Testament contains approximately 300 prophecies about the coming Messiah. Let's look at just a few of them. Genesis 12:3 says that the Messiah will come through Abraham's descendants. Genesis 17:19 says he'll come through Abraham's son Isaac. Numbers 24:17 narrows it down even further. He'll come through Isaac's son Jacob. Genesis 49:10 prophesies he'll come through Jacob's son Judah. Jeremiah 23:5 through 6, along with Psalm 132, says he'll be a descendant of King David. Micah 5:2 predicted 700 years in advance that the Messiah would be born in the city of Bethlehem. Isaiah 7:14, also written 700 years before his birth, says his mother will be a virgin. Again, we'll be talking about that more in the next lesson. And finally, I want us to look at Psalm 22. It's the psalm Jesus quoted on the cross when he cried out, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? But it also contains the prediction that the Messiah's hands and feet would be pierced, which is a clear reference to his crucifixion. The amazing thing is, this psalm was written 700 years before crucifixion had even been invented. So we've only had time to look at a few of these prophecies, but the fact is that Jesus' first coming was the direct fulfillment of roughly 60 major Old Testament prophecies. The chances of someone randomly fulfilling even 8 of them is 10 to the 17th power, which is the equivalent of taking silver dollars, stacking them 2 feet deep across the state of Texas, blindfolding someone and asking him to pick out a specially marked silver dollar on his first try. It's amazing, isn't it? Friends, I'm more convinced of the truth of this message than I'm convinced that I'm alive. And wherever you are may be on your spiritual journey, I appreciate you taking the time to take these studies with us, and I hope they'll continue to help you. I ask that you please like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And in the meantime, keep it real.